What's up? What's good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Saturday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. I hope each and every one of you are doing great, despite the fact that we're living in some unprecedented times. If you could please hit that like button. If you could please hit that subscribe button and that bell notification button to get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of all of my videos. So today, we're going to take it somewhere else, okay? We're going to take it back down the road of Canadian killers. And this time, episode number 2, I want to do Alek Minassian. Now, if that name rings a bell, that's because he's a total POS, right? He's a total animal. He's a total monster. And right now he's currently in prison. What is he in prison, you say? Because of a mass murder committed with a rental van. Now, anybody from Toronto has heard about this story. If you lived in Toronto, you definitely felt this story. You definitely saw this story daily on the news. And then when you find out why, it kind of blows your mind. Like, it would blow your mind regardless. But this dude, in my opinion, one of the worst ever. No real explanation as to why when you look at him. When you look at his background, it doesn't make sense until you actually look at him. So look at him, right? You see that face right there? He's not exactly screaming hunka burning love. You know what I'm saying? He's got the face only a mother could love. Now, this monster decided that it would be a good idea to drive his van up onto the curb from Mel Lastman Square in North York in Toronto and drive it straight down the sidewalk, crashing into anybody he could get an opportunity to crash into, specifically women. His target was women. Now, why? Let's break into that a little bit. Let's go back a little bit and figure out a little bit about this person. So, Alek Minassian was born November 12th, 1993. He's actually of Armenian descent, but currently, or at the time of his crime, lived in Richmond Hill, Ontario. And it makes me sick. That's where I'm born. That's where I'm raised. Knowing that this piece of crap was just around the corner from me, it's horrible to think about. But at the end of the day, these things happen. It's going to continue to happen, especially as the world escalates more and more into tribal division and to judging and hating the next person. And that is what this is. So he was a forced Incel. Now, I don't know if you know what that means, but that means forced in celibate or into celibacy. Basically, that means they can't get laid. Nobody wants to date them. Nobody wants to have sex with them. Therefore, they have animosity. They have a ton of self-pity. They have a bunch of different behavioral problems, but specifically misanthropy. Now, if you don't know what that is a hate in general for the human race. They just have it specifically for women. They call them Chad and Stacy. So basically, Chad and Stacy's are the popular dudes, the popular girls, the pretty, the attractive people, the actors, the people that are in good relationships, happy relationships, fulfilled sex lives. They are the enemy of the incels. And that was his motive in his description of why he did it. I disagree with that. I think that's probably part of it. I think that he's obviously crazy. There's clearly mental health problems going on. If you look at his background, he's a software developer, and all his life went into school, was in an autistic class. I don't know how much of an impact that had on this, but I think it perfectly describes, to me anyways, somebody who's been around and known a lot of autistic people in my life, I think it perfectly describes how he just like lasered in on this specific group and basically put himself right in the mix of things. And if you look, there's a whole bunch of Facebook posts from him praising mass murders from other incel mass murders. And he is just a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. And why? All because he had no game, he had no social awareness, and no social ability to make friends and possibly line himself in the proper situation to have a beautiful relationship and a healthy sex life. That's not what he was able to do. So what was his idea? What was his perfect way of solving that? Was to drive a van down the sidewalk into a bunch of old women and people that couldn't get out of the way. Because if you watch the video, it doesn't even look like he's coming down that fast. But if you're an elderly person, if you have like headphones in, or you're just not paying attention, it is a very loud area. Yonge and Finch in general, the traffic is crazy around there. So those sounds would be regular, and you probably wouldn't hear anything until it was right on top of you, specifically if you're not facing it. But if you watch the video, there's a lot of people that are getting out of the way. So I'm sure there's all kinds of factors as to why people were able to get out of the way. And I'm sure that he was basically aiming for females in the most part. Now, this dude was charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder. He killed 10 people, 9 of which happened to be female, 1 of which was a male, and he injured 16 others, 3 of which were critically injured. So he was charged with 10 counts, first-degree murder, 16 counts, attempted murder, and was recently just found guilty. Now, I will say this. This human being is a monster, okay? He's a monster. And the incel movement was never supposed to be what it is today. It was actually created by a female university student from Canada. It wasn't male specific. It wasn't based off of misogyny, misanthropy, and all these other crazy, characteristics that incels have. Racism and things like that. In general, just pretty hateful people. The group was originally created for people that were just lonely and had trouble finding dates. And when the person who created this name, the Incels, which originally I think it was INCVEL, and now it is just INCEL, she said it was like a scientist creating the technology that is now used for nuclear war. She can't take back the word that she invented and the movement that she invented. And it sucks that it was hijacked by these insane people that use this as motive for mass murder, attacking civilians, being crazy weirdos, if you ask me. Certified weirdos. This guy is a creep through and through. Just look again. Tell me you don't see it. Tell me you don't see this guy driving in a white van with no windows, driving around doing creepy stuff. He just happened to kill people with that same white van. And it's a shame that nobody saw it before it happened. My heart goes out to everybody who was affected by this attack. I'm not going to list everybody's names. I'm just not going to do that. Maybe I'll list them in the description. It's sad that something like this still happens today. And without any real motive at all, just hate, jealousy, self-pity, and just demonic thoughts. And there's a lot of these guys running around. It's not all incels. A lot of it is gang members. A lot of it is hitman or whatever it is. There's a lot of people that feel no way about taking somebody's life if they've been slighted or if they feel like society isn't taking them serious. And I think now in the days of social media and clout, I think a lot of people think it's a good way to get clout quick, regardless whether they're in prison or not. If you listen to a lot of killers from around, you listen to their, interrogations on YouTube or whatever, and a lot of them say they want people online to see it. They wanted people to know who they are. It's motivated by that, and that is a shame. It's a shame that we've come to a point in society where clout becomes more important than somebody's life, somebody's safety, or somebody's respect. And I don't know if things are ever going to get better. I don't know. I don't see it that way. I see that the way that society is going, it's just getting more tribal. It's getting more disconnected from reality and truth. And we're just headed in a direction where everybody's going to be against everybody just because we think a little differently. And I know people think that what they're doing is fighting racism and fighting gender discrimination and all these things, but all we're doing is moving backwards and turning into a society where everybody just hates everybody because they have a difference of opinion. I hope one day we get to a place where we see what's really going on. We open our eyes and we see who the real enemy is, instead of turning all of our anger and frustration on each other. And these things wouldn't happen. I just think we're in a place, we're in a society now, in a time where money is more important than treating somebody with respect, or having an audience is more important than treating somebody with respect. And the fact of the matter is, most audiences want to see that negative stuff. They just do. That's the stuff that sells. So that's the stuff that people promote. That's the stuff that people talk about. And the problem is, there's a lot of people that can't separate reality from fiction. And that's when you get these people. People with mental health conditions, people who haven't been socialized properly their whole life because of those mental health conditions. And it just creates resentment, anger, frustration, and then they latch on to something they see online that is completely skewed and just not how people really live. And they think that they're a martyr for this ultimate cause, and in the meantime they're going to get some clout from it and some fame. Doesn't matter who gets hurt along the way. And I hope that one day we just realize what's going on, the monster that is social media, and what it's turning our society into. I personally barely ever am on social media, you know. I might check my IG like twice a week. It's just not something I think is good for my health personally, or anybody's health. And I feel like I like to be grounded. I grew up at a time when there was no internet, there was no cell phones, there was no computers. You were outside, you were doing things, you were being active and staying busy because you had no choice. You were socializing and talking to people because you had no choice. Unless you wanted to dial a number on a rotary dial. You didn't want to do that, so you went outside, you hung outside, and you met people, and you talked to people, and you learned about things, you learned about culture, and you just became a lot more cordial, a lot more respectful of other people. And I think that's what society is lacking. You go outside nowadays, you don't even see kids outside. It's like everybody's so scared their kids aren't even outside. Their kids are inside. They got a cell phone from the time they're 6 years old, and they're being indoctrinated through all this crap they're seeing in their phone. And then this Alek Minassian, a software developer, is the result. If you could please hit that like button, if you could please hit that subscribe button and that bell notification button so you get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of all of my videos. So don't get me wrong, I don't think these kind of things happen in Canada all that often. I think that for the most part, Canadians try to be good and respectful people. I know times are a little bit different now. You can see a lot of stuff online with this social justice crap, but most people see through that stuff, and I feel like most people are still cordial. But social media is trying its damnedest to do its damage, man, to separate us into groups so that we are easier to control and easier to maintain And I just think that we need to grow up and wake up as a society and start looking at what's really going on. What's really going on. There's a reason why when I was young, you didn't see this crap. You rarely saw any kind of mass killings like that. There was no stripes or clout to be earned from doing it. People weren't really going to know, except for in the immediate area, and it would be out of the newspaper in a couple days. Nowadays, though, this stuff lives forever, and people can become famous for positivity or for negativity. And typically, it's easier to be famous for negativity. Look at Tekashi 6ix9ine, biggest clown, rat, goof, POS, walking the face of the earth, and can still sell out stadiums and gets millions of views because people like the drama. They like the circus. That is what sells. We need to do better. Love each and every one of you. The new Matt Clark.